Connecting Camden Whitegum is an innovative project that Camden Council developed in partnership with the CSIRO, the University of Sydney, the Botanic Gardens Mount Annan and Camden Airport. The purpose of the Connecting Camden Whitegum project is to create a genetically diverse seed orchard of the threatened eucalypt tree species, Camden Whitegum, and link with wild and planted Camden Whitegums along the Nepean River corridor. Connecting Camden Whitegum is a grant-funded project under the Greening Our City program, funded by the New South Wales Government and supported by Local Government New South Wales.
Camden whitegums are important to the area because they're a vulnerable species and they stand out amongst the canopy. They're much larger than the other species that are around them, and they're a statement for the area. And the fact that they're called the Camden whitegum makes us feel like they belong to the area.
They're magnificent. They grow 40 metres. They're huge. The circumference of the trunk alone is just, and an advanced tree is just absolutely amazing.
Those trees are very threatened. They often don't set seed. Our previous research has shown that. And even when they do set seed, very often there's weeds growing around the base of the trees, and that stops seedlings coming up.
This project serves not only to conserve this species, Eucalyptus benthamii, but also preserve the diversity within the species as well, which is an important tool for equipping that species to be able to cope with the effects of a changing climate and a changing environment.
This project is really important to increase the green space in the community by also having large canopy trees and the associated benefits of creating shade spaces.
Well, the Gardens has always had a great interest and commitment in local species, and particularly threatened species like the Camden whitegum. For this project, we've given advice to Council on weed management, but also about the ecology and management of the Camden whitegum.
So what we've done is we've taken the cuttings, established them here in these pots, let them grow on a bit, and now these trees have set seed and we've harvested that seed. And the good news is that we're able to grow 500 plus seedlings, which are now going to be re-established back along the Nepean River around Camden and other places. We're working together with the Camden Council on the Camden whitegum project, and that's going to produce some really good outcomes in terms of conservation of the existing trees.
In September 2021, Camden Council installed 500 Camden whitegums here at Elizabeth MacArthur Reserve. We are lucky enough to have one of two remaining subpopulations of this threatened eucalypt tree species found here along our stretch of the Nepean River.
It's our hope that once those trees are mature, there'll be enough density of native trees plus these planted trees for the native trees to start producing high quality seed on their own again. In that way, we'll ensure the future security of the native population of Camden whitegum.
We look at the nature of why they're endangered because of the nature of our planting, our exotics that have been introduced, and all those sort of reasons in farming, and then the flooding of the river and the seeds being spread. We've sort of tampered with that and affected their growth. But this project and planting is just amazing, and the awareness for the community is outstanding.
I think it's really important because the Camden whitegum is extremely restricted in its habitat, which is only on the Nepean River corridor. So, and this habitat is really threatened by weed invasion. So it's really important the council showing this leadership, particularly projects like this and the previous Camden whitegum projects, where they've been able to control weeds and re-establish Camden whitegums along the Nepean River corridor. It's just fantastic for habitat and really good leadership by council.
We also marked the location of all the planted Camden whitegums using a GPS device and measured the tree height and health of the planted trees. Council will continue to maintain and care for the plantings, and the community can also help care for the trees by keeping an eye on the plantings and letting Council know if there's any maintenance requests.
Quite often people underappreciate the diversity of the eucalypt genus. Not only are there a great number of species within eucalyptus, over 1,000 distributed across the country, but there's also diversity within species as well.
Connecting Camden whitegum has three main objectives. The first is to increase the abundance of the threatened tree species Camden whitegum. The second is to link fragmented pockets of riparian vegetation within the Nepean River corridor. And the third is to cool the suburb by increasing tree canopy cover.
This project's important to ensure the longevity of the species. At the moment it's declared vulnerable, and we only have a few remnant trees left here in Camden that are also at the end of their lifespan. The project has allowed us to bring in different genetic material to the area, which should improve the opportunities for the trees to survive and go forward into the future.
The University of Sydney will bring to this site the next generation of trained professionals in conservation and land management. We'll bring to this site undergraduate and postgraduate students to study these trees, to assess their performance in this environment, their health, as well as provide a framework for those students to apply in the future as they move forward throughout their careers, to really apply those basic principles of conservation and land management.
Where these are planted, it'll provide more opportunities for those wild trees to cross, and these are the right provenance and the right type of genetics to keep that pure. So that's a really exciting outcome from this project.
Camden Airport does extensive bush regeneration, and as part of that work we're reducing the weed species on site, and we're clearing areas that we'll be working to plant Camden whitegums. We're currently working with DIPI and also the Greater Sydney Local Land Services with some projects to obtain tube stock that we'll be planting in future planting. Yeah, we're really looking forward to the results and the survival rate of the plants that have been planted so far by Camden Council to inform us as to what we need to do when we're planting our species.
The Camden whitegum really is an iconic tree in Camden. It attracts a lot of interest, and I think it's really good that it attracts interest in the community in restoration and management of weeds in the river corridor. But I guess importantly, the research has shown that the Camden whitegum population, even the isolated remnants, are genetically distinct from the Blue Mountains or the Kadumba Valley population. So it's retaining that genetic diversity and increasing it through plantings like this is really important.
Camden Council is committed to conserving the Camden whitegum so that future generations will get to enjoy its beauty.